Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. This message, or this video, is for the youth group of Willowbend. Of course, you can listen, if you'd like. But the audience is the Willowbend youth group. So I hope you guys are doing well. Know that Buddy and I miss you, and we're praying for you guys. And we'll see you soon. But we're all kind of in the same boat. So know that. The wife is working out in the garage prison style, and the baby's sleeping. So I had a few minutes here to talk to you guys. And we've been going over Romans chapter, I believe it was chapter 11. But I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a diversion here and talk to you guys about something else, about a guy in Genesis. His name is Joseph. And I think we've gone over Joseph before, but there's a point that I want to make with Joseph, and something that he said, and just kind of his life, and I want you guys to kind of correlate it with what's going on right now, because it's pretty crazy time. So this will probably be kind of a short video, but if there's if you guys want us to continue, we will continue making them. And just let Buddy and I know that. Text me, or comment below, so we know that. So we know you guys are watching them and want us to continue. So we're going to end up in Genesis chapter 45, but I just kind of want to summarize the story of Joseph for you guys real quick. Stuff's good, by the way. This the coconut flavor. Anyway, so Joseph was one of Jacob's sons. I think maybe second youngest, or close. But he and his brothers didn't get along for whatever reasons. Well, there are reasons, but for whatever reason, for the purposes of this video here, they didn't get along, and they ended up kind of conspiring together and threw Joseph into a well to leave him for dead. But one of them came back. I believe it was just one. Came back, got him out of the well, and sold him into slavery. Sold him into slavery for to Egypt, and ended up being sold into slavery to this guy named Potiphar. And we know the story. Potiphar's wife came on to Joseph. Joseph said no, but she lied about the situation and had Joseph thrown into prison. And while he was in prison, he met Pharaoh's cupbearer and Pharaoh's baker, who were also both thrown into jail. And they both had dreams that Joseph interpreted while he was in prison. He accurately interpreted both of the dreams, and one of the dreams was that the baker was going to die, which he did. The baker ended up dying, but the cupbearer was put back in his place, as Pharaoh's cupbearer. And Joseph said, "Hey, hey man, remember me, when you go back to Pharaoh's service, remember me." But of course he didn't. A couple of years later, Pharaoh had a dream, and the cupbearer, hey, lo and behold, I remember this guy in prison that could interpret dreams, and so maybe I'll call him up. So he gets, we didn't call him up, but you know what I mean. He goes and gets him, and Joseph gets out of prison, correctly interprets Pharaoh's dream, and Pharaoh was so impressed with Joseph that he put him second in command of all of Egypt. And Egypt was like, one of the leading world powers at the time. So years go by. Joseph's brothers, actually end up coming to Egypt, but there's a famine in the land, and Joseph's brothers, they come to Egypt looking for food, and lo and behold, they run into Joseph, And Joseph eventually reveals himself to his brothers, and that's where I want to pick up the story. And I want you to see this. My point is, I want you to see Joseph's understanding of God's will and God's plan for our lives. And I want you guys to correlate that with what's going on here. So we don't know how things are going to end up. Hopefully, a couple weeks from now, things will kind of go back to normal. But whatever happens, it's God's will. All right. So He's never not in control of the situation. So let me read this to you. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come closer to me." And they came closer. And he said, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. Now do not be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are still 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting." Now here's the important part. God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth, and to keep you alive by a great deliverance. Now therefore it was not you who sent me here, but God, and He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his household, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. So Joseph understood what's called God's sovereign will, okay? And sovereign is just a big word that means someone can't be challenged. They have the final authority, so to speak, on something. So Joseph understood God's sovereign will, and that no matter what happened to him, he was going to have faith that God was going to work all things out. And that's kind of how I wanted to correlate that with what we're going through now. So if we all jumped in, well, maybe not all of us, but if one or two of us jumped into a DeLorean with Michael J. Fox, and we went 1,000 years ago, back into the future, and we found Joseph while he was still in prison, he didn't know the ending of his story. We read this and we kind of, assume he knew the end of the story, but he didn't know the end of the story. If we found him in jail, he wasn't aware of how things were going to end up, but I guarantee you we would have found a man that had very, very strong faith in God's sovereign will. And that's the point I wanted to get across to you guys, is that whatever's happening right now, it's in God's sovereign will. God's not out of control of that. And we as a Christian, and you as a Christian, need to portray that to others when you speak. When you talk to others, you need to let them know your faith. You need to let them know that, hey, God has this under control. No matter what happens, I'm not worried about it. The Bible says God works all things out for the good of those who love Him. Okay? And now's a great time to share our faith as Christians. Okay? So that's basically the point I wanted to make. Again, let us know if you want us to continue these. It's kind of a short video. Yes, it's only 8 or 9 minute video. So let us know. Like I said, comment below, or send me a text or something if you want us to continue these videos. And know that we love you guys, and we look forward to being back with you. All right, talk to you later.